Okay, here we go to an episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. It's a really cool premiere for you guys from the brand Monta. This is their second generation Triumph. You have this new 40mm case, this new uncluttered dial layout, as well as now having 200 meters of water resistance. And that should be released on October 15th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Central Time. And I have to say I own a few Montas, and this one I didn't see coming. But I have to say, the longer I spend with it, similar to any kind of new Monta release, the more it just grows on me. So with that said, let's go ahead and zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. Okay, guys, now some of you are screaming at the screen in terms of what this reminds you of, but we can't really talk about the second gen Triumph without taking a look at the first generation Triumph. And this is my own personal unit. Yes, I was one of the few people that decided to pull the trigger on this brand back before they were kind of an industry staple. And I have to say, the iconography here, of course, is going to resonate with that of the Rolex Explorer 1. But I will say it also is of that of the Monta Triumph, and you can definitely see the family resemblance. That signature 9 and 3 definitely are still there. They've simplified the setup quite a bit. Of course, I was a big fan of this setup. I mean, there's nothing like this out on the market. Of course, there are watches that really fill a similar space, a similar genre, but in terms of the way that it came together, it was just very unique. But I can absolutely see why the market calls for models like this, and that broader mass appeal, of course, is broader. And it appeals to the masses. So, I mean, from a business perspective, you kind of get it. And I would say, yeah, they're right. It is less cluttered. It is more streamlined, more refined, so it's one of those things where they kind of listened to what a lot of the critiques were. Hey, people wanted things to be a little bit more simplified. They wanted to remove the extra numerals and make it a bit more of a straightforward kind of Explorer alternative. Some of you are going to like that. Some of you are not. Some of you loved this watch, but wished it was more like this, and now it is. Some of you love this watch, and we're glad that it wasn't more like this, and you're going to be a bit upset. You can't make everyone happy at the end of the day. Let's go ahead and get this piece on the wrist and see how it wears. Okay, guys, as you can see on my 7.5-inch wrist, this wears quite nicely. Of course, if you don't measure in inches, it would be 19 centimeters in circumference. And you'll also notice that I have quite a tall, more rounded wrist. So it's not super wide, flat, and accommodating. And of course, if I get my wrist a bit too close to the camera lens, you're also going to notice quite a bit of perspective distortion. It's just going to make the watch seem a lot larger than it actually is. So I keep my wrist nice and low, and all of a sudden, look at that. It changes. Now you can see the sides of the bracelet draping around my wrist more so. So I'll keep my wrist nice and low and then just tighten up the frame so you guys can get still a detailed look, but just add a bit of a truer aspect ratio as to how this may lay on your own wrist. And yes, it's bold. It's a larger. It's not oversized, but it's a larger, more empty, uncluttered dial. So it's visually going to give you a bit more of a punch, but look at how thin that is. My goodness. The thinness is now even more accentuated now due to that slightly wider diameter, which I appreciate greatly. So we'll get it now off the wrist, set up for some Lume shots, a light transition, and closing thoughts. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the lights here. Wow. That Lume is an upgrade. It is, of course, more thickly applied. You're getting more surface area, and yeah, it's just brighter, bolder, and flat out better. More legible, of course, and definitely ultimately less cluttered and more consistent, because now you're not getting that mixture of, printed and applied lume. It's going to be all applied indices there, so deeper fill and thicker application. But one thing I always do like to work in is going to be a bit of a low light transition. Crescendo is going to be out in the middle of a field enjoying direct sunlight. A lot of times you're going to find yourself coming out of buildings, walking underneath overhangs, or just hanging out underneath the shade of a tree. So it's nice to see what these colors, textures, and finishes render like in less than optimal lighting. And my goodness, guys, it's like, ooh. Obviously, this is more simple, it's more subdued, more refined, but the thing that shouts at you is the quality, the fit, the finish, the tight tolerance, the hairline brushing, the high polish, the deep, glossy polish. My goodness. And again, this isn't an overly complex case, but it is quite organic. It's quite original. It's not off the shelf anything. These have all been developed and refined, and yes, they fall into a similar vein that, again, a lot of other watches and other brands have targeted similar waters and ended up in similar places. And to include some of the big brands like Omega, right? You think about their Railmaster or about their Aquaterra. They end up in similar spaces, right? Because of that balance of legibility and functionality and design, right? You're getting something that is ultimately versatile. And what makes it so versatile is, again, the fact that it is a bit vanilla. So that's just how it is, guys. These more boring, more kind of obvious watches, they triumph for a reason, although it looks a bit different, than the original Triumph. It still holds on to that spirit. So closing thoughts here, guys. Bold wear definitely feels very purposeful and still balanced on the wrist, so I like that. In terms of model variants, guys, depending on when you watch this video, definitely just check the site links for the eventual options and availability. Currently, just this one so far, but we'll see. Maybe you're watching this video a year or two from now, and there's more releases, and they're just known for that. And I'm curious to see what they can dabble in. And again, this is just that plain black iteration, and you might feel this is a bit too Explorer-esque in terms of it being a bit of a one-to-one with the larger numerals and everything like that in terms of the cardinal points of recognition and orientation. But in terms of comparable models, guys, a lot of micros have stepped into the affordable kind of Rolex Explorer segment, but rarely has really anyone else offered something in the same vein of luxury comparable to Monta. It's just, it is what it is, guys. There aren't a lot of brands that are producing watches that are to this build quality, outside of Omega and Tudor. I would say that this is even, I think, quite noticeably finer than a Longines watch that is going to cost you a lot more. The Triumph is, they listened. They had their ears to the streets. They're listening. And so you can decide what you tell them down in the comments below. How do you like it? How do you love it? What do you hate about it? Let me know down in the comments below. If you liked the video, please do a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.